in the air right now. It's all around, I see it everywhere. It's the power, yeah, yeah, God's power. It's the power to move any star. It's the power to heal your broken heart. It's the power, yeah, God's power. So don't hold back, no, don't hold still. God is here and He is real. Take 4 steps to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it around and move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now take tiny little jumps forward to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps back, but you better look back. Let's do it all again right now. Take 4 steps to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it around and move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now take tiny little jumps forward to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps back, but you better look back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now freeze, and everybody clap your hands. Now stop. Come on now, join with me, everybody sing. I'm gonna lift my voice to glorify my King. He is a mighty God and worthy of our praise. We give Him everything, He's good in every way. Come on now, join with me, everybody sing. I'm gonna lift my voice to glorify my King. He is a mighty God and worthy of our praise. We give Him everything, He's good in every way.
He is always there for us.
He's good in every way.
Pouring out His awesome love.
He's good in every way.
He fills us up with peace and joy.
He's good in every way.
He gives us all we need and more.
He's good in every way.
Come on now, join,
Come on now, join with me, everybody sing. I'm gonna lift my voice to glorify my King. He is a mighty God and worthy of our praise. We give Him everything, He's good in every way.
He is always there for us.
He's good in every way.
Pouring out His awesome love.
He's good in every way.
He fills us up with peace and joy.
He's good in every way.
He gives us all we need and more.
He's good in every way.
Come on now, join with
Come
me.
on now, join with me, everybody sing. I'm gonna lift my voice to glorify my King. He is a mighty God and worthy of our praise. We give Him everything, He's good in every way. Come on now, join with me, everybody sing.
Everybody sing.
I'm gonna lift my voice to glorify my King. He is a mighty God and worthy of our praise. We give Him everything, He's good in every way. He's good in every way. He's good in every way.
Hi, friends. I am so glad you are here. Do you have a favorite day that comes every year? Maybe your birthday or Christmas. Have you ever had a day that you wished could last longer? I know I have. It's usually because I'm having so much fun, but sometimes it's because I have more things that I need to get done. If it is something that I'm doing outside, it can be hard to get done after it gets dark. Do you know what the longest day of the year is? The summer solstice, usually around June 21st. It's the day when the sun passes the highest point in its path across the sky. So there are more hours of daylight than any other days. In today's Bible story, God actually made the sun stand still. We'll learn about that in a little bit. The past couple of weeks, we've been talking about strategy, thinking and planning how we might do different things, learning how to think ahead. I know that God used many different strategies in the Bible, so I went back to the book of Joshua to see what sort of strategy God could show me next. I found the coolest story in the middle of the book. But let's not forget our focus on why I'm here in the first place. I started this whole journey because I want to use my mind for God's glory. So how do I do that? How can we glorify God? Say it loud if you know the answer. We can glorify God by loving Him and obeying Him. Let's say both of those together. How can we glorify God? We can glorify God by loving Him and obeying Him. 2 weeks ago, our strategy came from the story of Joshua's leading the Israelites into the Promised Land and how God stopped the Jordan River for them to cross over. Last week, we learned from Rahab, the spies in the Israelite army during the Battle of Jericho when those walls came crashing down. For this final round, our strategy comes from another battle where God led His people to victory in the most unusual way. Let me explain.
God was with His people as they entered the Promised Land. Joshua and the Israelites had defeated the cities of Jericho and Ai. They made peace with their neighbors, the people of Gibeon. One day, the Israelites came to a place ruled by 5 kings. The kings did not love God or worship Him. They had heard about God's people and were afraid.
One king called to the other 4 kings in the land. He said to them, "Help me attack Gibeon, because it has made peace with Joshua and the people of Israel." So the 5 kings joined forces and went up with all their armies to fight against Gibeon. The men of Gibeon sent a message to Joshua, "Help us, save us. All the kings who live in this land are fighting against us." So Joshua and his whole army went to Gibeon to help them. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of the kings, for I have handed them over to you. Not one of them will be able to stand against you."
Joshua and his army marched all night from where they were staying, and they surprised the 5 kings' armies. As the Israelites fought, God confused the kings' armies and helped Israel defeat their enemies. The 5 kings' armies fled. The Lord sent hail from the sky to stop them. The battle was not over. Joshua needed more time to fight before the sun went down. So Joshua prayed to God, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon over the valley." The sun stood still and the moon stopped until Israel and Gibeon defeated the kings.
The sun did not set for almost a full day. There has been no day like it before or since. As the Israelites traveled in the Promised Land, they took over many other cities. God fought for His people and helped Joshua and the Israelites conquer the land God had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
God gave the Israelites peace and rest from their enemies for many years. When Joshua was old, he reminded the Israelites about all the great things God had done for them. The people said, "We will worship the Lord because He is our God." Then Joshua died.
Joshua's name means the Lord is salvation. God fought for Joshua and the Israelites, saving them and giving them victory over their enemies. Sinners can look to God for victory over sin and death. God brought us salvation by sending His Son, Jesus, to die on the cross and rise again.
This week, our strategy has come from the book of Joshua, chapters 10, 11, and 24. We have been working on learning about the Bible, God's true word. Let's see what you remember. The Bible is one book, but it is divided into how many sections? That's right, 2, the Old and New Testament. Do you remember how many books are in the Bible? 66. We have been learning the first several books in the Old Testament, which is the beginning of the Bible. Let's try to say them together. Are you ready? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. Let's try that one more time. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. When we look at the strategy we see this week in Joshua, we see confusion, hail, and the sun standing still. God was really showing his power and favor for his people. There was no way Joshua could have ever caused any of that to happen by his own power or strength. Can you make it hail? Can you stop the sun? Only God can. God made the sun stand still and gave his people victory. God can move heaven and earth to help his people. The sun stayed in the sky all those extra hours to give Joshua and the army the daylight they needed to finish that battle. And don't miss the fact that the Israelite army had marched all night before they surprised their enemies. You know they had to have been tired. But God gave them the strength they needed to keep fighting when on their own they would have just collapsed from exhaustion. God fought for his people time and time again. He proved to them that he is faithful to keep his promises. When they loved him and obeyed him, his glory went ahead of them and caused their enemies to run in fear. And God can still do that for us today. Joshua's name means the Lord is salvation. God fought for Joshua and the Israelites, saving them and giving them victory over their enemies. Our greatest enemy today is sin. But sinners, that's us, can look to God for victory over sin and death. God brought us salvation by sending his son, Jesus, to die on the cross and rise again. Jesus conquered our biggest enemy when he rose from the grave. We can love and obey him as the leader of our lives who brings us the victory. We know that God can bring us the victory, but sometimes when we're getting ready to face the battle, or when we're in the middle of a battle or hard time, it can be hard to see that. What are some things that you think we can do to help remind us that God is in control? Let's watch our Questions from Kids video and see what Pastor Brian has to say.
Hey there, I'm Pastor Brian, and it's time for Questions from Kids. Noah from Waco, Texas asks,
I have to start a new school next week. I'm really worried about what my teachers will be like and making new friends. How can I feel at peace?
Noah, that's a really challenging situation. You know, when I was a kid, I moved around some too, and I had to start new school, so I know that can be intimidating. But here's the thing, you have the answer in the last question. How can you have peace? And we know that peace comes from God, that God cares about you, he loves you, and he's with you, and he knows exactly what you're going through. And so we know that when we trust in Jesus, when we follow him, one of the things that he gives us is peace in our life, that we can handle any circumstance, even if it's challenging, even if it's difficult, like starting a new school, getting to know your teachers, and making new friends. Here's the other thing though, don't forget that God is in control, that nothing you're going to experience is outside of God's awareness and his control. He's a good God, and remember, everything he does, even sending us to a new school, is done for his glory and our good. So what are some things that you can do to remind yourself that God is in control?
I think that Noah had a question that we have all had at one time. School is getting ready to start again, if it hasn't already for some of you, and this year looks a little different. Maybe you're nervous about all of the changes too. When I'm faced with a challenge or something that scares me or makes me a little nervous, I like to think back on all the times that God has been there for me and given me the victory before. That helps me to remember that no matter what, I can know that God is in control and He's working everything for His glory and my good. And that helps to give me peace. I hope you've been working on learning our key passage. Are you ready to say it with me? Let's say it together while we spin around, just like the earth spins around. Here we go. The Lord is the one who will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Deuteronomy 31:8. Now, let's try it again, standing still, just like how God kept the sun still. The Lord is the one who will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Deuteronomy 31:8. God made the sun stand still and gave His people victory. The miracles in the Bible remind us of God's great power. The same God who fought for Joshua and the Israelites is the same God we know and worship today. God promised to be with Joshua, and He promises to be with us. Because of that, we don't have to be afraid or discouraged. Listen to these verses from Psalm chapter 111, verses 4 through 6. He has caused His wondrous works to be remembered. The Lord is gracious and compassionate. He has provided food for those who fear Him. He remembers His covenant forever. He has shown His people the power of His works by giving them the inheritance of the nations. I suspect when the Israelite army got home and told what God had done for them, the people couldn't stop praising God. How can we glorify God? We can glorify God by loving Him and obeying Him. I miss you all so much. I am praying that you have a great start to school this year, and I hope I can see you soon. We have some fun things coming up, so tell Mom and Dad to keep an eye out for more information. I love you. Have an amazing week.
Now the darkness fades into new beginnings as we lift our eyes to hope beyond. All creation waits with an expectation to declare the reign of the Lord our God. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. Now the silence breaks in the name of Jesus, as the heavens cry, let the earth respond. All creation shouts with a voice of triumph to declare the reign of the Lord our God. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. He shall